Hi guys, welcome back. This is the third video of the sitemap crawler series. In this video we'll start writing the actual functions. So in the first video we saw the diagram on how we're going to approach the entire project. The second video we started writing these skeletal functions, and right now let's start working with our main function, so which is the first function where the program will enter. So here what we'll say is we'll create a variable called p, and we'll say it's a default parser. Now default parser is basically a struct again. So we'll go here, we'll say type default parser, and we'll say struct. And here while we're at it, let's complete this as well. So we'll say type parser interface. Okay, and let's complete the SEO data struct as well. So we'll say type SEO data struct. And so the things that we need from so we'll get an unstructured data, we'll get some unstructured data, and then we want to extract the useful information from it. So that, which is what our parsing function will do. So the parsing function will take this unstructured data and create a struct out of that for us, and the struct will have user defined or defined by us on some values that we need to extract from that unstructured data. All right, so we'll the URL is what we want from that data. Then we want title, we want the h1 tag, we want the meta description, and this is all the description, and this is the SEO data that we need. And we also need a status code, which will be like 200 or 404 or something like that. So it'll be int basically, and this will be a string. H1 tag again is a string, and the title is a string, and the URL is definitely a string. All right, so this is your SEO data struct. Now let's go back to our main function. In our main function, we'll call this function scrape sitemap. I'll keep the S capital, and I'll make the M small, so it's scrape sitemap. And here we'll enter the URL that we want to scrape. So let's think about it later on. Let's think about the website that we want to scrape. But not only the website, but we'll have to find out the sitemap link for that website, and then we'll send that sitemap link into this scrape sitemap function. All right, and let's take that value that we get in a variable called results, and we'll range over those results. So we'll say for, and for the iterator we'll put a blank character, and and every single value that we get from the results, we'll take it into this variable called res, and then we'll range over the results, and then we'll say fmt dot println and res. All right, so we're just going to print out all the results that we're getting. That's simply it. So now let's start working on this scrape sitemap function. So the scrape sitemap function, we'll obviously get a URL, right? The URL that we need to scrape. So we'll say URL here, and it's going to return a slice of type SEO data. Now SEO data, as you know, is our own struct. It's our own data type, which has these 5 different values, and that's what and a collection or a slice of those different results is what we're going to return from this function. Now we'll call this function called extract sitemap URLs. I'll make the M smaller, and here we'll pass this URL that we get into this function. All right, and we'll take that into a variable called results, and we'll like I said, we'll call this function called scrape URLs. Here what we'll do is we'll just pass the results that we get from this function, extract sitemap URLs. The results that we get, we are passing that into the scrape URLs function. Okay, and we'll take that value in this variable called res. And res is basically the structured data that will come back from this function. and that will be in the format that's acceptable to us. That's based on our struct of SEO data that we have defined. So the res is the most important thing, and that's what we're going to return from this function, right? So res is basically going to be a slice of type SEO data, where SEO data is the struct that we've already defined. All right, so that's what the scrape sitemap URL function does. Now let's also talk about the extract sitemap URLs function. So the extract sitemap URLs function, it takes a URL, so let's call it the start URL, that's a string, and it returns a slice of strings. So the extract sitemap URLs functions takes the URL that we receive in this function, and then it returns this results, where results is basically a slice of strings. All right, and here I'll make a channel. I'll call it the work list channel. So we'll say make chan string channel, and I'll create a function called toCrawl, which will be a slice of string, and right now it's empty. And here we'll start a go routine. So we'll say go func in our work list. We'll give it a string and start URL. Now this work list logic, the whole logic of creating a channel and publishing all the links that have to be crawled to the work list. So this logic has been defined by me, has been explained by me in this video called the Guardian scraper, the guardian.com scraper. So you can go and check it out, and in that you'll understand this complete theory properly, because I've drawn diagrams and I've shown you properly on how this work list channel works. So we're basically using it to publish our the links to be scraped basically. So that's why we're using this channel. And here to start off this routine, we'll put these round brackets here, and we'll start off a for loop. We'll create a variable n. I'll talk about that later, okay? But for now, let's not work on this for loop. Let's work on the let's take our work list. All right, and for the work list, by the way, W is capital. So we'll take our work list and we'll take all these values in a variable called list. Okay, and now we'll have to range over the list of all the URLs. So we'll say for blank character link range over the list. And when you range over the list, you start another go routine, which takes each link one by one, and it makes a request. So we'll say make request, which we've already written here, right? So we'll just take this, cut this and put it here. So the work list is a channel where we are publishing all the links to be scraped. We're taking all that, the complete work list that we have, we'll put it into a variable called list. We'll range over that list, and then we'll run a go routine to make requests. Now we're using go routines because we want to make requests simultaneously. All right, we don't want to just make requests one by one and sequentially. We want to make it to a concurrency there. So we'll make a request to that link, and then if so, before this, I think we'll have to accept that in a variable called response, and also error. And so if error is not equal to nil, we'll say log.printf error retrieving URL %s comma link. All right, we'll call a function called extract URLs here. The response that we get here, we'll send it to a function called extract URLs, and we'll take that value in URLs. So if things are not making sense right now, don't worry, I'll go through it again like properly. But if you watch the Bing.com scraper and the Google scraper and that Guardian scraper, you will understand everything about these random user agents and how we make requests and all these channels. Everything will make a lot more sense to you. But even if you don't understand it, if you've not watched those videos, you don't understand this, don't worry, I'll again explain to you the whole process again, and everything will make sense to you. All right. And here again we'll say if error not equal to nil, we'll say log.printf error extracting document from response %s, and we'll type out the link. Okay. And then we have another function called is sitemap. I'll get into why we need that function, but for now just bear with me. So this takes the URLs that we got from extract URLs function, and here we'll say sitemap files comma pages, if sitemap files not equal to nil, sitemap files. Don't worry about this right now, I'll explain to you. And here we'll say we'll range over all those pages that we've just received, and we'll put it in a variable called toCrawl, and toCrawl will append that page. Okay, and here we'll say link. Okay, and from this function we'll return toCrawl. All right. So all this function that this function is doing, extract sitemap URLs, is returning a list of is basically returning a slice, which you can call it as a list basically. So it's a slice of URLs to crawl, right? That's what extract sitemap URLs is sending to results. All right. So it takes a URL, it goes through that, it goes through those URLs, and then it creates a complete slice of all the URLs that need to be scraped, that it finds. So now let me first complete this for loop here. So this for loop starts off like this, and it has a in this for loop we're doing this, that, right? We're taking that into the work list into the list. But here after the for loop here, we're also incrementing our n by value, and we're keeping a variable called n here, which is int, and we're incrementing n again by n++. Now in the video for the Guardian scraper, I've explained this entire process where we take this variable called n and how it creates a loop, a never-ending loop to discover more and more and more URLs and keep adding that to our work list channel, and how that keeps us in a loop to keep getting all these links, keep discovering links till it has completed the entire page, right? So I've explained that properly in that video along with diagrams. So if possible for you, you should go check it out. If you've already seen it, then this will make complete sense to you. If you've not seen it, then I'll try and explain it to you without drawing diagrams in that video. But what's happening is that I'm running out of time in this video, and I know that this function you've probably not understood properly. There's a lot happening here, but I'll try to explain to you in the next video, and I'll also carry on the rest of the functions in that next video. So do stay subscribed to the channel, and thanks a lot for watching. Stay subscribed because you'll come to know when the next series of these videos comes out, and also we have hundreds of Golang videos on our channel, which you'll be able to understand. Like if you're learning Golang, they'll be really helpful to you. So do stay subscribed, and thanks a lot for watching. See you in the next episode.